Oh, damn. That is a bad way to open up the video. Damn. Oh.
Who in the hell are you?
For those of you who don't know who I am, I used to post YouTube content from early 2022 towards the middle of 2024. Mostly about fragrances. I dabbled into a couple other things, but it was mostly fragrance content, building my collection, reviewing stuff, making lists, giving some recommendations. Since I stopped posting, I haven't really been collecting a lot, you know, getting 1 to 2 bottles here and there, but that's really about it. But recently, I've had a lot of friends and people that I know asking me for fragrance advice. So I figured I could make a video, not just for my friends and the people that have reached out to me, but for those who don't know where to start. My belief is that in order to build a solid fragrance rotation that you could use whenever you want, you need to have 8 fragrances. If you want to just rock one fragrance, that's totally cool. There's a lot of fragrances out there that could be your one-all be-all. And throughout the video, I will describe each of these fragrances, what they should be doing, the type of budget you should be focusing on for specific fragrances, what type of fragrances to be looking for. This is a good foundation of a collection, or for those who don't want to collect too much, this could be your entire collection and you'll be good for years to come. So the first fragrance in everyone's wardrobe is your signature scent. This is something you could wear when it's hot, when it's cold, formally, casually. This is an extension of you. This is how you want people to remember you by. If you want to spend a lot of money on a signature scent, by all means, because it resonates with you. If you're more budget conscious, just be aware that you're going to be probably spraying this fragrance the most. So you might need to buy it again in about a couple years or so. So just be aware of that in mind. My signature scent, because of where I'm from, this resonates with me really well and fairly new to my collection compared to the others on this list. Tom Ford Oud Mineral. I don't know if I need to go up in the camera to make it look better, but yeah. Oud Mineral by Tom Ford. This is very dark and aquatic. You hear oud in the name, you're thinking, oh, this is going to be pungent, dirty. This is going to be fecal smelling. It's not that type of oud. If anything, this is a slightly rubbery oud. It just adds a lot of depth to the aquatic notes in here. And to me, from where I am, it straight up smells like you're passing by Santa Monica, Venice Beach. It smells like that. This is really good. It kind of dresses up easier than it does dressing down, but you could honestly wear this whenever because it has good performance. That's another thing. Signature scent should have good performance, at least good longevity. It doesn't need to push out like a beast, but this should last throughout most of your day. As a matter of fact, gotta put this on. I gotta go out in a couple minutes. So you didn't see the bottom. I didn't spray my ass or my nuts. I'm not Cuba.
Tell me I did not just see that.
Nah, Cuba cool as hell though. Can't believe I said that. What the hell? And when I'm talking about buying fragrances, 99.9% of the time I'm buying off of discounters. There's a couple exceptions to the rule, which I will get to later on in the video, but you should be buying these fragrances at a discount. Building this collection is a lot cheaper when you're buying it off of discounters. It makes it more attainable for a lot of other people. Do with that what you will. The second fragrance, this is kind of optional. This is the one that you could get away without buying, but because it's so affordable, you might as well just do it. This is what I call a gym scent or an errand scent. A lot of people call it that as well. But this is basically something where you want to spray a fragrance, but you don't want to spray something expensive. You just want something passable, very inoffensive, easy to wear. Realistically, a fragrance like this should be under $30. I think a good gym scent should be very light, very airy, but you should be able to find it and it should be readily available at all times. Not just online, but at places like Ross, TJ Maxx, Burlington, Nordstrom Rack, Macy's Backstage. These type of rack stores should be carrying this fragrance on a regular occasion. God forbid you break a bottle. A lot of people would go with something like Nautica Voyage, which works, it's good. I just want to go with something a little different that's even cheaper than that, if you could be surprised. This is Original Penguin, this is Premium Blend. This right here is a hefty bottle. The cap feels cheap, and one con is it does get really, really sticky, so just be aware of that if you buy this. But the scent itself is quite pleasant. It's $15 for this 100 ml. It basically smells like your poolside without all that chlorine, a little bit of mint, and a little bit of green around the edges. Little bit of salt, but yeah, it smells like your poolside. Who's gonna be offended by smelling like you're coming from a pool? On my skin, has really good longevity. Performance on the gym scent doesn't really matter. From here on out, there's gonna be a set of fragrances, so they're gonna be doing the same thing but for different times of the year, and I will explain a little bit. So the first duo of fragrances should be your work rotation. Whenever you're working, you want to smell professional, you want to smell inviting, you don't want to offend anybody. That's a big thing with work fragrances. These need to be very, very inoffensive. And you could play around a little bit depending on your job. Obviously, if you're more corporate, you have to be a little more careful. But if you're working out, if you're doing blue collar work, you could get away with a little more. Especially during a work time and when it's colder. You do want it to be very clean when you're at work. You want it to smell professional. And maybe you do want it a little bit spicy. And in my collection, Chopard Musk Malaki is a very, very good and affordable work fragrance. This is, like the name suggests, it's very musky. But this is a very metallic, clean musk. This is not an animalic musk. The reason why I deem this a good cold weather work fragrance is because of the little bit of spiciness it has. Works well during colder times of the year. I'm recording, it's about a couple weeks before Christmas, and it's like 80 degrees outside, so I can't say much. But in a colder environment, this will work really well. Very simple and easy to understand, which is also something very important in a work fragrance. Now for the warmer weather, again, you want something clean. This one you could get away with being a little weaker. Not saying that this fragrance in particular is weak, but it's a lot fresher, which is why I deem it better for the warmer weather. From Prada, this is Prada L'Homme Low. You know it's Prada L'Homme Low because of the back. It's a light blue back. Very, very good. And in my collection, if you have a dent like this, I really like it. For the longest time, this was my work scent. If you know Prada, they love Iris. This is a very soapy Iris. Really good for the office because it's not as sweet as the original Prada L'Homme with the black back. This one's better because it's a very fresh and spicy ginger, a little bit of lavender, very, very, very powdery. You need to like powdery fragrances, but this is like soapy powdery. If you just want to smell really clean and really fresh, really professional, this dresses up extremely well. You could wear this whenever. Honorable mention to Platinum Egoiste. Okay, this is also very metallic, but this leans very barbershoppy, aromatic fougere, shaving cream type of smell. Some people might call this really old smelling. I just see it as timeless. This is over 30 years old, but this smells I can't be saying that. This scent is really timeless. A lot of people think it smells like old people. It just smells like shaving cream. If you associate that with old people, so be it. Little tip though, if you do want to get anything Chanel or Louis Vuitton, you're gonna have to pay retail more likely than not, because those two designer brands are not found on discounters. Rest in peace, Notino in the US. This next set of fragrances is date night. Self-explanatory, but a couple notes with date night fragrances. Number one, it should be very, very inviting, very easy to understand, and very approachable. Number two, and probably the most important one, less is more. You do not want to overspray this, offend your date, choke him or her or they out. You don't want anything negative in this type of interaction. Just play it safe, not necessarily in the scent, but the amount of sprays that you put on yourself. Calm it down a little bit. This is a situation where less is more. A lot of people deem this fragrance to be very formal. Some people might even call it too feminine for a dude. To me, this is my date night king, and you're gonna see a different bottle nowadays, and I'll show it up on the screen once I show this fragrance. This is Dior. This is Dior Homme Intense. Some people call this the greatest designer fragrance of all time. I really can't argue. And again, this is an older bottle, you can see, because of the lettering down there, and also on top of the atomizer. Just a heads up. This is really good. Why is this a good cold weather date night fragrance? Number one, iris. Makeup iris, very sweet, very musky, and just very, very inviting and easy to understand while being different, which is also another tip for date night fragrances. If you find a fragrance that's very easy to understand but unique, you're doing a good job. The only caveat with this one in particular is that this is potent as hell. This pushes like there's no tomorrow. So you got to be careful with the trigger. And because it's Dior, it's got the pressurized atomizer. I'm not going to spray it because if I spray, I just lost like $5. This is an old formulation. I forgot to mention budget with the working date night fragrances. All the ones I showed you, some of them are as cheap as 40 bucks, which is the Chopard, the Dior, the Prada, the Chanel's, around or a little over $100 on discounters. Chanel, again, you cannot buy at a discounter, just a heads up. And this is also another Chanel. This is a good warm weather fragrance for date night. For a warm weather date night fragrance, it's kind of hard to come across, especially one that does the job well. You want it to be fresh. You still want it to be kind of sweet and inviting. You want it to be very easy to understand. But there's not a lot of fragrances out there that do that. Allure Homme Edition Blanche. This is a warm weather lemon vanilla fragrance. Probably the best one in the designer realm. Haven't smelled Oudin, which is supposed to smell really similar to. This right here is really, really good. Performance, not the best, but realistically, you don't need a fragrance that performs like a beast at date night. Again, less is more. This you could spray a little heavy if you want. Don't go crazy on the trigger, but compared to the Dior, you could spray a little more of this. Lemon, vanilla, woods. A lot of people call it a lemon meringue pie. I kind of agree. Very delectable, very easy to wear. When it's hotter, this just gets better, which is very hard to say for a lot of vanilla fragrances. Okay, for my final set of fragrances, this is something that you're going to be wearing when you're going out. This is going to be your statement making fragrance piece. This, in my opinion, should be niche. All these other fragrances I showed are designer fragrances. You could easily find those. These ones you're not going to be able to find as easily. If you look on discounters, you can, but you're not going to be seeing these in your Sephora's, your Macy's, Dillard's, all those stores. You're going to have to do a little more research on these, maybe sample them, but these statement pieces should be unique. These should be very, very bold, very, very loud. Again, something that you really like, but you should spend a lot more money on these in my opinion, which is why I say go niche. These two in particular happen to be around the $100 price point, so they don't have to be uber expensive, but these type of fragrances you should be spending a little bit more money on. They should be conversation starters, something that not a lot of people really know what it is. The fact that you could find this under $100 is crazy to me. This is Montale White Oud. Talk about something bold and loud. This is the strongest fragrance in my collection. I think the second or third time I wore it, something early on, I had this on me for 2 days. I tried showering, scrubbing it off, didn't come off the first time. Barely came off the second time, but I could still smell a faint skin scent from this. As the name suggests, this does have oud, but the white in here is very fitting because it's a very clean, smooth, and sweeter take on oud. A lot of saffron, so it's really spicy. There is a lot of rose, fresher rose, not the jammy type of rose. For a lot of fragrance enthusiasts, this is something you've probably smelled before, maybe with a little bit of a twist. But for 99% of people out there, they don't know what the hell oud is. They don't even know what the hell Montale is. So this is a type of statement maker. It literally fills up the room with 2 to 3 sprays. If I spray this in my room now, it's going to linger in for 2 days. I'm not kidding. This is for colder weather, by the way. And for the last fragrance, the warm weather statement piece. It should be a little bit fresher, maybe a little greener, maybe more citruses. You don't want something heavy with oud during the summer, but you could wear whatever you want. In my opinion, I wouldn't do. This fragrance house is notorious for putting out affordable, banger, niche fragrances, especially for the warmer weather. This is Acqua di Parma. This is Colonia Futura. This is old meets new. This is a citrus aromatic that is overloaded with lemon. Lots of lemon and lots of lavender. Very, very, very green. Good amount of woody vetiver in the base. It's not the earthy vetiver, but something like this that's overloaded top heavy with citruses, with greens, with herbs. Shines really well in warmer weather. Maybe more so spring than summer, but this you could wear in the summer. It is really strong. It does smell really natural. It is really rough. A lot of people would think this is old smelling too. It smells like old money. Like you're doing well in life. They want to know, ask you for money advice, things like that. This is what that smells like. I bought it for 80 bucks. I've seen it cheaper. But in the warmer weather, you want something that pushes off the skin without being heavy. This is a great example of it. My work here is done. I'm done. Maybe I'll come back. I don't even know.